Embarking on an extraordinary space odyssey, China has marked over 500 launches with the legendary Long March rockets, emphasizing their relentless pursuit of progress. Achieving the construction of a space station within a year and advancing through 3 lunar program phases in just a decade, China is now poised to start lunar station construction with plans to send a crew to the moon by 2030. In this cosmic race, China's ambitions to surpass the United States as the world's leading superpower are evident. Despite China's formidable strides, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson confidently asserts that China won't outpace the U.S. in the lunar project. Today on Alpha Tech, join us as we unravel the mysteries behind NASA's unwavering confidence and delve into the intricate landscape of China's space exploration endeavors. On January 9th, NASA convened a media teleconference to unveil crucial updates about the Artemis lunar program. The noteworthy revelation was the postponement of both the Artemis 2 and 3 missions. This delay is undoubtedly disheartening as the global audience has anticipated the return of humans to the moon for over 50 years. The announcement heightened anxiety among the American people, particularly given the remarkable progress of competitors like China in the space race. Despite this setback, Bill Nelson, NASA's administrator, exuded unwavering confidence and declared,
Irene, I do not have a concern that China's going to land before us. I think that China has a very aggressive plan. I think they would like to land before us because that might give them some PR coup, but the fact is that I don't think they will. I think it is true that their date that they announce keeps getting earlier, but specifically with us landing in September of 26, that will be the first landing.
But why did NASA's administrator express such confidence despite announcing the postponement of 2 Artemis missions? Nelson's assertion is grounded in the latest schedule updates, revealing that Artemis's timeline remains notably ahead of China's lunar exploration plan. Specifically, the Artemis 2 mission, tasked with a crew flyby of the moon followed by a return to Earth, is slated for September of 2025. Subsequently, around September of 2026, Artemis 3, involving the landing of a crew on the moon using SpaceX's Human Landing System Starship variant, is set to transpire. This milestone marks humanity's return to the moon for the first time since the Apollo 17 mission in 1972. While China's crew landing plan is anticipated no earlier than 2029 or 2030, lagging behind NASA and SpaceX by approximately 3 to 4 years, the Artemis program's continuous execution of Artemis 4 and 5 in 2028 and 2029 respectively suggests a swift and strategic lunar presence. If these missions succeed as planned, NASA and SpaceX could establish stable human resources and facilities on the moon before China arrives. Securing the first lunar landing would confer a significant advantage, especially considering both the US and China target the South Polar region known to harbor valuable underground water ice, a critical resource for potential civilization. The ability to land, construct bases, and assert territorial claims will likely determine the victor in this lunar exploration race, irrespective of later entrants. Besides the schedule, we can see that the hardware production progress of NASA and SpaceX is also ahead of China. For NASA, the SLS rocket serving the Artemis 2 mission has been fully produced and is in the process of testing and improvement. Even hardware like the liquid hydrogen tank of the SLS prototype for the Artemis 3 mission also appeared. The Orion spacecraft has also been produced, but recently NASA has realized there are some problems that need to be addressed, so they'll need some more time in order to improve on that spacecraft. But at least they could be confident that all production phases are completed. As for SpaceX, they are still making strong strides with the Starship project, especially last year when they conducted 2 integration test flights. Along with the development of the Starship project in 2024, they will probably begin producing and completing the Human Landing System, or HLS, Starship. In fact, an HLS variant nose cone has appeared for a few months at the Starbase build site. Additionally, SpaceX recently conducted a test with the elevator system that'll be used in the Artemis 3 mission. It'll help take astronauts from the crew compartment to the lunar surface. With those steps, we can believe that we are still focusing on this project, and the production progress of the HLS Starship will be soon accelerated. Nelson's confidence is further reinforced as we shift our focus to China. China is planning to use a new moon rocket prototype, the Long March 10, to land crew on the moon. Designs have leaked for a long time, but it seems production has not yet been conducted yet. Even their production process will be longer because they will have to produce up to 2 Long March 10 rockets, 1 spacecraft, and 1 lunar landing stack to serve their new landing process. According to the latest updates, China will conduct the first tests with Long March 10 prototypes no earlier than 2027. At the same time, the Artemis 2 and even Artemis 3 missions will have been deployed. However, NASA and SpaceX should not be subjective because they are also encountering many problems while China is accelerating like crazy. Regarding NASA, they're facing a number of difficulties with their operation and the way of using their funding. After over 10 years, they've been just able to complete production and launch the first SLS mission at an exorbitant price. Although the recent delay of the Artemis 2 is not that serious, it also partly reflects the slowness of this agency over the years. Besides developing vehicles, NASA probably needs to reform a lot in its operation and work ethic, because if many delays crop up in the future, it'll be an opportunity for other competitors, especially China, to take advantage to narrow the gap in the space race. As for SpaceX, their development speed has always been something that we have long recognized. Although they've not reached orbit yet, the progress they've made with this rocket is still remarkable. Perhaps this year, they'll speed up the frequency of testing and launching to soon help Starship reach orbit and enter stable operation. But that will also be related to the biggest challenge they often face: regulation from government agencies. After each test flight, we see SpaceX often struggle to work with government agencies like the FAA, FWS, or, most recently, a group of federal agencies. Therefore, besides improving efficiency and minimizing the impact of flights, SpaceX will need to work with those organizations to soon get final agreements to limit objective issues affecting their progress as well as the general plans of the country. Meanwhile, for China, as I mentioned, in just 13 years, they've completed 3 of 4 phases of the lunar program and gained many notable achievements. For example, they sent the first rover to the moon's surface in 2013, becoming the 3rd country in the world with the capability to do so. 6 years later, in 2019, they sent the rover to the far side of the moon, a feat that no other country has done before. In 2020, they successfully sent the lunar samples they collected back to Earth. Based on those achievements, they are preparing for a lot of crazy plans. Besides the aforementioned crew landing plan, they also plan to launch the Chang'e 6 mission in May this year to collect samples on the far side of the moon. Also, in the lunar program, they're preparing to enter Phase 2, building the moon base, starting in 2016. The construction phase will last about 10 years, and they expect to put the lunar station into operation in 2036. It can be seen that although China's plans are still behind NASA and SpaceX, we have to admit that they are really developing rapidly. That's why the US and SpaceX should not underestimate their arch rival and perpetually keep an eye on their opponent in tandem with developing and improving upon their systems. The upcoming years will be extremely important for every organization because they will determine who will win the moon race. Both NASA and SpaceX will need to optimize this valuable period to solve problems as soon as possible to have the best in preparation exploration. The lunar mission is very important and they have to always be at the highest state of focus and readiness. Many challenges await them, but we can still believe that they are still on the right track. Hopefully, Nelson's claims ring true, so that 2026 will truly be the time, be the year when we can see the American flag once again waving from the moon. Well, folks, that's about it for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Please let us know what you think about all of this happening right now in the space industry in the comment section down below, because for one thing, your feedback is very important to us and helps us make better videos for you. That's the second thing. So for both of those things, we thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you again next time.